Hello, good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Vijayender, the Content Director of Agribusiness Academy, and I'm leading the Industry Readiness Program. So today we have the privilege of introducing Mrs. Chaitra Bharath. She is a proud, or we are proud of having her as the soft skills expert at Agribusiness Academy. And she's very excited to speak to you about soft skills and what they mean for you in getting a job. And she will take your questions, your questions related to soft skills. So I hand over the floor to you, or the mic to you, Chaitra.
Thank you, Vijay, for your kind words. Good morning, learners. I hope you're having a good Sunday. The fact that you all are here logged into our webinar shows how serious learners you are and you love learning. So that's a compliment for all of you who have joined us on this webinar today. So coming to our webinar, it's about how soft skills can help you and what is soft skills enhancement, who needs it, why they need it, and how to get going about it once you know that you need it. So according to a recent study, it says that 75% of our day is spent on communication. So think about it, whether you're speaking to your parents, your friends, your siblings, or people at work, or people in your college if you're still a student, then 75% of our day is spent on communication. Communication is not just about speaking to one another, it's also listening. So in class, if you're listening to a lecture, that is also communication. If you're writing something down, that's communication. So there are two parts to communication, that's the written and the non-written or verbal. And 57% of the projects that are suitable come to you because of your communication. So if you want to get better marks, if you want to get a good job, or a job that you think you're suitable for, that you would be happy doing, then your communication matters. 73% of the business leaders believe effective communication is important. So now just think, 73% of the people who are business leaders, right? So they could be CFOs, CEOs, all these people of different companies all over the world think that communication is key for an employee's success. So where do you stand? And if you come into contact with these people, do you think you have that communication to get you to the good job that you dream of? Now, this is the question we need to put to ourselves. Sorry. So when and where effective communication is required? The classroom, the boardroom, and everywhere in between. So it is necessary during your college days. So you are expected to write answers. So that's written communication. So your teachers tell you that when given a question, what it tries to know about you is whether you have the knowledge. Have you learned what you have been taught in college? Have you learned what is supposed to be learned by you through books and other resource materials? So the way you write your answers tell us, the teachers, whether you know or not. So there are many times you do know, but you do not know how to communicate that you know. Not only students, but teachers also face this problem every day. So I may have a PhD in my particular subject, but if I do not know how to communicate that to my students, I am a failure as a teacher. So communication is not only important for you as a student, but it is important for me as a teacher. So if you dream about being a good teacher later on, not in a formal setup, maybe not in a college, but if you want to be a good teacher to your own kids, to your nephews and nieces, then communication becomes so important. And in work, I do not have to reiterate the importance of it. You might be an excellent technical person, but without the right communication skills, presentation skills, negotiation skills, people skills, you will not climb the ladder of the your own career. You will be stuck in a particular position where you might get bored after a few years. You start getting frustrated. You say, I deserve much more than this, but why am I not getting promoted? That will be a question on your mind, which will lead to being unhappy. So in the beginning, you might land a dream job, but later, your landing that entry position is not the end of your career. It is just a stepping stone. And from there, if you have to climb each and every step of the career ladder to reach a top management position, then communication skills are crucial. Take your own relationships, whether it's with your friends, with family, extended family, with people you may not know. You might be just acquaintances on Facebook or LinkedIn. Now, to get any benefit out of any relationship, you need good communication skills. So let's say you are connected to this person who works in a particular nice company, right? You want to get a job in that company, you're friends with this person on Facebook or LinkedIn, but if your approach to that person is wrong, you will not get a chance to even try for a role in that company. But if your approach is right, your communication strategy is right, that person might be in a position to get you a job. So this becomes so important, communication skills become so important from classroom to boardroom and everything important in between, including your home. So it's useful in both formal settings and informal settings, so which includes all of these. And there are two things in communication, as I already told you, the written communication, the verbal communication, or the oral communication. Both of them are very important at different times. So now let's just think. Now, most of you might be in your final year of graduation or post-graduation, or you might have just completed either of them. Then definitely you're looking for a job. So now just imagine in a plethora of candidates. Every year, thousands of agri graduates graduate out of college. There are thousands of engineers coming out. There are thousands of MBA graduates coming out every year. Now, if I own a business and I have a position open and I have these many applications on my table, how do you stand out? Your marks, that is, the cutoff to come to the interview could be 70, 75. So that's just a cutoff. So your marks play an important role to get you into that top layer, who just come into the cutoff marks. So beyond that, after that, it's not your marks at all. In the interview, I want to check what you know and how you're going to use that knowledge to benefit my business. And you need to communicate that to me, saying that why I should think you're the perfect candidate for the job. I have a lock. You have to prove to me that you are the key, right? And how is that done? You can't show me your certificates. You can't show me your marks and say, see, this is what I have scored and I'm going to get the best thing for you into your company. I don't believe that, or rather, it doesn't impact me much because it is someone else who has set the question paper. It is someone else who has evaluated you till date. So that evaluation is a third party evaluation for me. In the interview, I will evaluate you whether you fit into the role of my organization. So communication, your soft skills, your ability to convince me that you have the knowledge and the ability to convert that knowledge into benefit for my organization to me. Can you convince me? Right? So there are certain minimum requirements of every job. So probably a teacher's assistant professor position in a university probably requires a person to have a PhD. It might require a person to have different entrance exams like the NET, National Eligibility Test, or any particular state eligibility tests, it might require a teacher to have scored more than a minimum of 55% in their graduation, post-graduation. Now, all these are minimum requirements of a job. And I'm going to get thousands of people who match these requirements. Beyond that, out of the thousands, your communication skill is what is going to help you stand out, is what is going to convince me that you are the key to my lock, right? It also shows the level of professionalism in a person. Soft skills is not just how to talk, how to write. It's also about managing different aspects of your life, like your relationships, time, negotiation, right? So it's an MBA in its whole, right? So if you can manage your time, yourself, your relationships, and other aspects of your life, which all these include soft skills, that shows me that you're a professional. So at work, it is so important for you to have good soft skills, not only just your technical skills, because the people with good communication skills are those who are assigned to the most important clients. So if there's a client meeting, you will be invited to the meeting. If your boss is busy and he had to take someone very important out for lunch, then definitely you will be the chosen person to take that important client out for lunch. Now, who would want to miss such an opportunity to prove oneself in the organization, right? So you will be the person who is given a chance to cut important deals because of your communication skills. And definitely all this will translate into promotions and hikes. So yes, you will be on your way up the career ladder and there's no looking back. And this is how important soft skills are at work. So this is how you're going to raise on the career ladder, and soft skills and communication skills is what is going to help you achieve that. Yeah. So how to improve your communication skills? Now I know it's very important. It's very easy for someone like me to just say communication skills are important, soft skills are important. But as a learner, I really understand that you need to be shown the way to achieve this. So in the industry, we have certain things called as best practices. So an example for a very good letter, an example for negotiation skills, an example for different skills associated with your career. Now you will be able to get access to these kinds of best practices when you enroll into our Agribusiness Academy. Okay, you will be interacting with a lot of effective communicators. So most of our experts on the panel who handle your other courses are all expert communicators. So in an online academy like Agribusiness Academy, online communication is an important skill that I as a teacher have to be associated with this esteemed academy. So most of our communicators, you can actually look at them, you can learn a lot from them, all of them, not just me who handles soft skills, but all our experts are open to questions from your side. So you can model their effective communication styles. Now you will work with a constructive coach or mentor, that's me. So you will have 3 sessions with me after you watch the video modules that are designed to help you get an insight into what are soft skills and how to gain them, what are the best things to do. So after these videos, we will have 3 sessions, a one-on-one session, a personal session with me, and I will help you, I will coach you to get better. And definitely you are your competition. Don't compare yourself to anyone. I am my competition. I should be better than what I was yesterday. That is what I have on my mind every day. I knew this yesterday. What more can I learn today? So if you have that attitude, definitely I will mentor you, I will coach you, and you can, compete with yourself. And in the 6 months course, you will come out as a successful person out of the IRP program, and there's definitely no looking back after that. And the last word, whether you join the academy, you don't join the academy, I'm a teacher and I have to say this to you: practice, practice, practice. Practice is what makes you perfect. Absolutely. So, thank you for listening to me. And if you have any questions regarding the IRP program, the soft skills modules, please go ahead. I'm ready to take your questions now.
Thank you, Chaitra. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Vijay, I can hear
Yes.
you.
Yeah. Thank you, Chaitra, for this wonderful introduction and setting up the tone. I have seen a lot of hands going up. So I'd request each one of you to put forth your questions in the chat box. So we have quite some attendees here online, but I've also received a few questions offline. So I will try and combine all these questions and kind of pose them to you. But before we start getting into the questions, I want to give all the participants some time, and we would also want to get to know their background. So I have a few poll questions. So with your permission, I'll start a few poll questions for them. So this is the first poll question to just get to know you, because I think that helps us understand where you stand, like what is your objective, what are you looking for. So can you take time to answer this question, please?
Yeah.
So we have a mix of students,
Yes.
graduates, and a few currently working as well. So please
Yeah.
take your opportunity to finish up the polls. Yeah, you have anything to say, Chaitra?
Yes. I have a question here from Satyam Kharya. Hi, Satyam. And Satyam's question to me is, how can I avoid my hesitation? Now, um,
So shall
most
we
of
take,
us,
Chaitra?
yes.
Shall we take the questions at the end? I'm finishing up
Oh,
the
you're
polls
doing the
now.
poll, right?
Yes,
Right. Yeah,
yes,
sure, sure, sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so about I'm sharing the poll. I'm closing the poll now and
Okay.
sharing the results. So about 45% of them are graduates and seeking for job, and 36% are final year in their final year of the study, and 18% of them are currently working.
Okay.
And I will take a few other polls. I will kind of. So this is the second one. So what are you really looking to? What do you think is the current level of your industry soft skills? Please look at these options. It needs significant improvement. It needs improvement, needs no improvement. What do you think? So we have very genuine participants here. So about 71%, 75%, 75% are saying they need significant improvement. Chaitra, I will
Yeah.
close it. I'm closing it. If you have not voted, please vote it in the next 5 seconds. Yeah. So this is, so I'm sharing the poll results. So 75% say that they need significant improvement, and 25% say they need improvement. So I'm very glad that all of you feel that there is an improvement scope. When I'm doing my sessions with Chaitra, I see there is so much to improve even for myself. I mean, even at this level, there's so many things I have not really worked upon. So this is another question, which is about the soft skill areas you would need improvement on. And please tell us, what are the areas in which you would want your soft skills to be improved upon? Verbal communication, written communication, negotiation, convincing skills, and personality. You can choose multiple, you can choose several of them. So it need not have to be only one of them. You can choose multiple of them. So this is a different kind of a question. It's interesting to see that verbal communication is kind of standing out. So all of them have answered the question, and these are the results. Chaitra, I don't know if you are able to see on your screen. There is, right.
Yes.
So you can see that 90% of them, so almost always, and this is my experience also from the past, that people do give a lot of importance for the, I mean, from their perspective on verbal communication. Written communication comes always as one of the least important aspects, and negotiation and convincing skills. Do you have any comments on this result, Chaitra?
Okay, see, a lot of people do understand, or they have recognized those areas that they are falling behind the rest of them. But you see, personality and written communication do take the third and fourth positions. But really, they're as important as your verbal communication and negotiation, convincing skills. And you really don't know, where you lag behind in these. And definitely in the days to come, you will realize that you're not very good at them also. A lot of people think they're good at written because they've been writing, a lot of exams, so they're just good at writing. But no, but communication writing is very different from writing exams.
Right, right. Right. Okay. So very, very interesting. So, oh, fine. I have the next. I'm sure there will be a lot of kind of questions on these topics, on what are the skills, how do I improve. So I have a few two other questions very quickly, so that we get a perspective of what our learners are kind of really expecting or looking at from their perspective, and maybe we can have. So how much time, I mean, this is a question I really wanted people to reflect on. um, how much time do they consciously devote time to improve their soft skills, right? That's very, very important. I think we hardly do give a lot of time to consciously improve our soft skills, I guess. I just wanted to get their feeling about it. So I'm surprised to see the results I've got so far. Please, all of you, answer this poll, so that you will understand, or we will understand how serious you are about improving your soft skills. I give another 5 seconds, and then we can close the poll. Yeah. So this is the poll results. So 2 hours per week is what a few, about 30% say few hours per week, 60% say 5 hours per week, and 10% say none at all. So what is your feeling, Chaitra? You have any comments on it? How much time ideally they should be spending on improving their soft skills? What is an ideal amount of time for graduates or people who have just started their careers, or students?
5 hours or more per week is what is definitely needed for people in their final years, or people in the transition phase from their education to career require. because there's so much learning, and as I would like to say that what you learn in college is very minimal, and what the industry readiness program can give you is exactly what the industry wants. So if people are putting in this many hours of conscious soft skill development, then great. And IRP is the place for them to effectively use those hours that they're already putting into soft skills development.
Right, right. Yeah, thank you so much, Chaitra. So here is the final poll question. So there are already other questions coming in. So I'm just curious to understand, do you believe that lack of soft skill competitiveness is hurting your career opportunities? I think this realization is sort of important, right? If they believe it or if they don't believe it, that makes a lot of difference, because if you don't believe it, then possibly the chances of working on them are very low, isn't it? So then buying into the stuff. So I'm just, I mean, possibly this is a trivial question, but still worth asking, I guess. Yes. So we have polls, and I'm not very surprised that we do recognize the need to. So all of you have wisely recognized the need and improvement of soft skills, and their role in your career. So very nice. So with this, I finish the poll component. I can moderate the questions. Please type in your questions as you um, write, get further. So would you want to take that question, Chaitra? How do I avoid my hesitation? Yeah, please go ahead. Take that question.
Yes. So this question is from Mr. Satyam Kharya, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. So his question is, how can I avoid hesitation? Let's understand why people hesitate to ask questions. Because we are not, since childhood, we are asked to be obedient. We are asked to do what is being told. We are not encouraged questions. So this probably is the problem with our culture itself, with our communities, with our family equations to some extent, the equations between teachers and students to some extent. But now you're all, now that you know this, I'll tell you that you need to ask, you need to speak to people, and there's nothing wrong in it. Please understand that asking someone anything is not wrong. What is a prayer? A prayer is nothing but you're asking God for something, right? So there's nothing wrong at all, but it is about the right timing and how you ask, how you frame your questions, how you place your requests. So this it's not about what you ask or what you say, it's about how you ask or how you say things. So soft skills matter here to make you understand what is the right way of communicating with the other person, so that the person is not hurt or offended. And if both of these are avoided, definitely that person will communicate back with you positively. Or let's say you do communicate with someone and there's a negative answer from that person or a negative response from that person. Well, it's that person's response. So how are you held responsible for that? You are doing your job to communicate what you felt to that person, right? Okay, so first thing is we need to stop hesitating. Make a conscious effort to frame the sentences in your head before you talk to someone whom you're hesitating to talk to, and over time you will understand what is the right way to approach people. So there's always learning in every communication that you do, is one thing. You need to have a lot of confidence, self confidence in yourself, and once you're confident, the hesitation will go. And how to gain confidence in oneself? It is by gaining knowledge. So unless you are sure of what you know, right, which the things that are important to communicate that with that person, then you will definitely not have confidence to say what you want to say. So build your confidence, self-confidence, and there's nothing wrong in communicating at all, right? So that's my answer for Satyam. Vijay, do you have anything to add to this?
No, I think you have really covered it very well. So avoiding hesitation is about building up confidence, I guess, as you have kind of summarized. I think confidence again comes with practice and with doing um, more of that. I mean, these forums, these 6 months are a very, very good opportunity for all of you with the industry readiness program to do those mistakes, to build that confidence, and to avoid hesitation when you hit the real world, I guess. So that's possibly my addition to
Yeah.
that story. So would you want to take this question asked by Rakesh Chari? So
Yes.
yeah. So do you see that question? How can?
Yes.
But I think this is a very common question. I think I received more than 10 questions on these lines offline as well. So people that couldn't join. So please take it up.
So Rakesh has this question. He says, how can I improve my speaking skills with experts and business people? So here you need to first understand what product or service you have that might interest the other party. Okay, and you need to understand what the expert or business people on the other side of the table are expecting from you. So once you know what you have and what is expected, you will definitely need a lot of confidence to talk about your product or service to that person. So knowledge about your own area of your product and service, knowledge about the personality of the persons sitting in front of you. So this is what we cover in the first module of soft skills in IRP, that is the different styles of communication. So you will know that there are 4 different types. So once you know what type of communication style the other person who's sitting in front of you follows, you will have all the necessary resources with you to present whatever you want to present to that person more effectively, and you can expect to have the kind of response that you want.
Right. Yeah. So I know this person personally, like Rakesh Chari. So what I feel is that I'm so impressed with him, even though the language and all those aspects are not yet in place. It's an evolving stuff. I personally believe that the right people in the industry for you are the ones that are looking at your content and approach as much as or more than the polishness you have at this stage of your career.
Yeah.
So I would like to suggest each one of you, because I am interacting with all of you over the last days and months. I can say that uh, trust on your content more than your soft skills at this stage, and build the confidence on your soft skills. So use the content strength that you have to build on your soft skills. So you can't build on your soft skills without having content. So you need to build that content base for yourself, that is the knowledge or the thoughts that you have about a subject, and then practice the 6 months. We will give you a lot of scenarios, a lot of situations. We are open to you 24/7, even the WhatsApp groups, the Slack groups, the opportunity to write us emails. All these are great opportunities. Don't miss them, and just help yourself to this particular, to build the confidence again, right? So Chaitra.
Yeah. Absolutely, Vijay. I totally agree with what you said. So let's move on to the third question for the session. We have third question from Mr. Chandan Kumar Jaina, and he asks, do necessary soft skills vary across jobs? Well, the answer for this question is that communication skills, soft skills, the package is the same for whatever role you're playing. So it could be a mixture of time management, the mixture of people management, written communication, verbal communication, presentation skills, etc. The package remains the same. The weightage of each as you move higher up on the career ladder changes. As a technical person, probably your written communication skills are more important. You will have to hone up those skills in the beginning of your career. As you go up, when you start handling a team of 5 to 10 people, then your time management, your negotiation skills start becoming important. When you move up and you go up to the top management level, it's a lot about time management and people management. So it's about dealing with the CEOs of your supplier companies, your client companies. So understanding people becomes very important as you move up the career ladder. So the package or the variation is only in the proportion of importance, but the package remains the same. And different skills, you will have to make them better as you move up the career ladder.
Right. So yes, I think that's a very interesting question, isn't it? Like, like how do
Yeah,
you
yes,
really
yes. It's very
um,
interesting.
yeah. So I think I learned a lot from the answer that you have provided. So thank you so much for that. So maybe I'll kind of start, because there are lots of questions coming in. So I'll try to club in the questions. But before that, maybe um, there are lots of people that are curious to know about or learn about what are they going to what are the topics that they're going to learn in this industry readiness program, soft skills curriculum, and how are we going to help them build up the confidence that they need to face the industry interviews. Especially, there were a couple of questions on interviews as well. So
Okay.
you might want to take them through the curriculum that we have and the way in which we design the coaching sessions to help them out
Sure.
on a one-on-one basis.
Yeah. At in the IRP program, business communication and soft skills module is a compulsory module. In the first part would be an assignment to the learners, and they would be expected to write a short note, introducing themselves to me. So by reading this document, I will understand the status or level of their communication skills. And once that is done, I will have they will be watching recorded video modules of me on basics of communication, the art and science of resume writing, and then we will have a review of the assignment that they have written. So they'll have a coaching session with me where I will mentor them to answer the question as to introduce yourself better. The module 3 is another video on instant messaging, email, and telephonic conversations, what the do's and don'ts on these forms of communication. Then we will have a coaching session on making the resumes stand out, making them more impressive. Then we have the following videos on business writing skills, image projection. Image projection is more about power dressing, business writing, business dressing. Then we have social media presence, the do's and don'ts on social media like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. Then we have the modules on body language and confidence building. So this is a very comprehensive way we have designed our curriculum for the business communication. This will also include group discussion and interview skills along with case study presentations. So by the end of the 6 months, by the end of watching these many videos and having 3 coaching sessions with me, definitely the learners, I can outrightly promise them that they're definitely going to be 2 or 3 notches above what they are currently today.
Right, right. Yeah, thank you so much, Chaitra. That really is helpful, I guess, for everyone. So there is a question from Soundarya, which is related to like if you are a starter in soft skills, and you are looking for a job, what kind of skills do you have to pay importance to? Like, is it more for getting a job? Is verbal skills, verbal communication more important than written communication to get a job? Or like, how do I convince the interviewer, or what should I do, or what should I learn to convince the interviewer is a question, I think.
Yeah. Hi, Soundarya. So, depending, as I told you, see, communication is a two-way thing where you are communicating with someone else and you are the sender of the message, the receiver of the message. That person's personality matters a lot to define whether you get the job or not. Now, a lot of people I know don't much bother about the English or the grammar or vocabulary. They look at you as a wholesome person. They look at you whether the interviewee has the personality to fit into that organization. So there your verbal skills and written skills both play an important role depending on what your role will be in the organization. Now, for a person who is, like you have the BPOs and KPOs where you call in the customer relationship, people are talking to you on phone. Here, the majority of the weightage would go on your verbal communication skills. But if you are going to be at a managerial level, then your written communication skills, your email writing skills also play an important role. So this is a very generic question. The answer lies in 3 parts. One, the person who's interviewing you, what is that personality of that person? Two, the role that you're applying for, what are the communication skills necessary for you to succeed in that role? And three, the organization, the culture of the organization. So different organizations give different importance to different aspects of communication. So it's a threefold answer.
Right. Yes, and I think when I look from our learner's perspective, a possible answer that might interest them would be, rather than worrying too much about your current level of skills, you should take opportunities, or you should create opportunities in the interview to tell those people what you are doing to improve your skills, because the skills, your current skills, what you have got, are anyway clear to them by then, right? They have seen your written skills, they are seeing your verbal skills live. I think another way to convince them while you're doing an interview is to tell them how much you realize the shortage of your skills and what you're doing to overcome them. You should create such an opportunity right at the beginning, I would say, so that they really start looking at you very differently, rather than making up their mind saying that, hey, this person doesn't have these skills, so let me just finish up the kind of an interview. So you should create. I've learned from a very interesting training given by a BBC interviewer, saying that almost always, as a person being interviewed, you can try and guide the discussion favorably to you, towards you, like, to your strengths. That's a very important skill, especially as a starter, when you know that you don't possess a certain skill. I think this is an important tip that I wanted to give it to you when I saw this question. What do you think of it, Chaitra? This
Yes, definitely. There are two types of interviews where it is one is interviewer driven and one is interviewee driven. So if you can maneuver the interview to become more about you and you tell them what you know, then definitely you are taking control of the interview yourself and you will get more opportunity to tell about what you know rather than cutting a sorry face when they ask you something that you don't know.
correct. Yeah, and as a start, when I'm hiring a starter, I'm more interested in how keen this person is to learn than how
Yes,
much he or she knows at this point. Because in the
right.
industry, almost always, you have to learn new things, right? Whether it is technology, whether it is learning to communicate, whether it is learning to collaborate, whatever. So I think most of the times we pay a lot of importance to what we know. We want to show off what we know and what we have got, like, okay, I've got a degree, I've done this, I've done that. But I think what is important is to show off how good you are at learning new things, how proactively you learn new things. And
Yes.
that is, I think, a habit. And we might want to help you get into that habit when we start with this IRP program. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any comments on that, Chaitra?
No, Vijay, that's good. Really, I totally agree with what you said.
Right. Um, then there are a couple of questions which are which I think I will try and understand. So I will try and interpret it in my own language. Sai Krishna talks about I think the lack of vocabulary or a lack of understanding of good vocabulary, which leads to a lack of understanding of a subject or a topic, right? So how do I overcome this challenge? I think that is one of the things that Sai Krishna would like to know, which I'm sure many of us really face this kind of a challenge, right? So, do you have any tips for that?
Yes, Vijay. So, Sai, your best friend is your dictionary. So, any common person has limited vocabulary, unlike people like Shashi Tharoor and etc. So we all have limited vocabulary, but there's always scope to learn new words. So in English, we have something called as the etymology, or the way the words have come, from what root words they have come. So if you're really interested to enhance your vocabulary, you have various sources to learn root words. So example, so you have the word memory. So MEM is memory, related to memory. So mementos, all these are related to memories or remembering something or some person. So the root word here is mem, and the different other words have taken birth from that root word. So enhancing your vocabulary is as simple as that. And your dictionary, and there are different apps on the iOS and Android stores today, like Word Hippo, different thesaurus apps. So you definitely have a lot of resources, but the approach to learning vocabulary is what you have to learn, and that we can mentor you on that. Now, in learning a subject or your work, related to your work or to your college studies, yes, so now you have the resources. You have to, the point that you have understood that you lack the vocabulary itself is a stepping stone to learning that. So keep a dictionary beside you when you don't understand a particular word. You open the dictionary, look at the meaning, right then and there. So don't let it go to, Don't procrastinate. Don't put it to another date, or forward it to another time, because you might just forget it. So understand the meaning of the word then and there, so the context of the sentence is registered in your mind then and there.
Right. Um, that is, I think, a very, very good soft skills expert answer, I guess. I will try to give possibly a learner's answer or a learner's perspective to this. I remember those days when I used to have this question. I think there are a couple of tips I can give from my own personal experience. One is to really choose topics that are close to your heart to improve your reading and understanding skills. And you can use that when you read, understand, you will not automatically get tempted to use some of those learnings in your usage. So that's the next step. So choosing the right topics to read and read them several times. When I first started understanding that I need to improve soft skills, I used to read small paragraphs from the Hindu for several times, right? 3, 4, 5 times to really get the essence of it. And then because I read it so many times, I get familiar with it, and then I was keen to use them. I would practice it to myself or in some conversations. The other thing I would do is, because the topic is so interesting for me or important for me, I would really take the sentences that I like, and I used to write them down just with my hand. And that those exercises had a lot of positive impact, at least for me, in terms of helping and improving. So that way, I think a lot of our exercises and our assignments and our content gives you a lot of a significant amount of practice opportunities, so to speak. So when you are part of the industry readiness program, or when you decide to be part of the industry readiness program, you'll have several such kind of opportunities to kind of enhance or to develop yourself on those lines, I guess. What would you say as a soft skills teacher to this approach?
Yes, Vijay. That's how you start loving to read, when you start reading topics that are close to your heart, as you said. So I actually tell a lot of people who want their children to start, cultivating the habit of reading, to introduce them to comic books first. uh, they're going to start to learn, love to read. Then to Harry Potter series, that's my personal favorite for kids, and of all age groups. So even our learners can start reading those books. They're excellent, very imaginative books. So you don't have to stick to your work related topics. Start reading. Once you start loving to read, then you can, switch over to books that matter to you, and it's, reading is a lifelong habit, and it's going to keep you a company long way through your life.
Yeah. And I think one another way is, I think, as you one of the trap that I discover for myself is, as you start gaining confidence in your soft skills, you lose the skill to listen. I remember you talking about being an effective communicator is about effective listener. The
Yes.
beautiful part of not being confident in soft skills is then you tend to listen more, and I think you need to use that to offer you leverage. So you need to be a very, very good listener at the beginning, at least, always, but at least at the beginning, to be able to improve. So many times I've seen many students um, uh, just trying to kind of vomit whatever they have memorized or learned, and contextually and not so contextually, that turns out to be working against them than kind of favorable to them. So um, take your time, and I think listen to others. And most of the times you can use other people's flair and confidence or language to push forth your point of views as well. So listening is, I think, very, very important um, at the beginning of that particular journey, I guess. That's my answer to this. Anything else you want to add to this, Chaitra? Because this is a very difficult question for many of our learners, I guess. A difficult
Yes, there's
part.
nothing more to add, Vijay. Thanks.
Yeah. So then I will try and ask some questions that I received offline as well for people that couldn't be here for whatever reasons, maybe too early or on a Sunday morning. So um, the most important challenge they talk about is at the phase of interviews. So like mock interviews or interviews, sort of like how do they crack the interviews and stuff like that. So when it comes to so the question was, how does our IRP program prepare them for the interviews, the final interviews, which they are struggling to or suffering or trying to succeed at that. So what is your take on that?
So we have a special module on group discussions and interviews. So there we will be discussing the basic do's and don'ts, and we will be also, talking about certain case studies as to address a few particular scenarios, and we will be talking about the different kinds of interviews that go on, and we will prepare you to understand the importance of understanding the other person's perspective. So once you know what the company expects from you, you will be able to convince them better. So this is about the module. And the one-on-one coaching sessions, when I will be giving you scenarios to talk to me, and we will have a mock interview in those sessions. So I will understand at what level you stand, and I'll help you to overcome your confidence issues, your whatever hindrances that you're facing to speak up in an interview.
Right, right. Yeah, I think that's a great that's a great answer, Chaitra. I think the one-on-one coaching sessions is what possibly you can count on. There is no other way anyone can help you improve the specific weak areas within you other than the one-on-one sessions. I think preparation for an interview is a journey, and possibly you should consider the 6 month opportunity you have got as that journey. So it is not about the final presentation that you would do for the IRP exam, so to speak, but more about every day. You have to make every day count and work on your weak areas. Just enjoy the program, enjoy the challenges that we give you, and yeah, enjoy the opportunities to interact um, on instant messaging or email or even verbal communication on a coaching session. So there is no, even today, when I have to do interviews, when we have to do these sessions, it requires a lot of preparation. So there is no secret code to cracking the interview. I guess it is being on a journey and trying to um, and being prepared to fail a few times. Like I as an entrepreneur, when I started pitching several of my ideas, I had to go through this process of looking very silly in front of a lot of people to start with. And you should take that. You should be prepared mentally to look silly, to be less prepared, because actually you're not less prepared, but you are just trying to discover things, right? So in this case, trying to discover your soft skills, trying to develop your soft skills. So in the case of entrepreneurship, it is all about discovering your solution, developing your solution. So it takes time for you to learn those skills, and we recognize that. That's why we say it's a 6-month program, not a 6-day program, right? So, or a 2-day program. um, and not just 6 months till you get the job, and beyond that as well. So we believe that the soft skills and all other skills are a lifelong learning opportunities. So I think that's the other side to this particular thing. So are there any other general tips that you might want to give to students that they miss, Chaitra, from their from
I don't think we haven't missed much. But if there are any more questions, we'll take that, or that's it.
Yeah, because I generally tend to keep time, so we are just about an hour. So I think there would be a couple of practical questions that we keep receiving from time to
Yeah.
time, which I'd like to take up. We lost your video feed, Chaitra, if you're not aware
Oh,
of
okay.
that. Just yeah,
Yeah.
so you're back again. So I was just curious to really stretch upon somebody has asked this very interesting question, whether they require different soft skills for different types of jobs. But then another question on those lines would be, would people from different backgrounds require different approaches to develop their soft skills? Like, for example, engineering versus Bachelor of Sciences versus the MBA graduate. So what have you uh, seen as the best practices for different groups of people?
Yes, Vijay, that's a very interesting question there. Well, if I have to elaborate on what are the particular communication skills that an agribusiness graduate should have, then there are two scenarios. One is he will be dealing with farmers at the grassroots level, then the communication style should suit the farmers. Now, it's a different audience. So now the knowledge of the local language also becomes important there. So if you see most of our job descriptions will have something like knowledge of Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam or Hindi or any other Indian language is important. It becomes a part of the job description. Well, if they're going to be in the corporate office and they're dealing with managerial level of people or the employees of companies, then knowledge of English becomes important. So the approach here itself, just being an agri graduate or agri business graduate, you have two different approaches to the communication skills. So now if you take engineers on one hand, then their technical skills are very important. For entry level, if they are software developers or testers, it's more about the technical skills that are leveraged on by the companies than their communication skills. But
Correct.
for them to get promoted to managerial levels, then the communication skills come in place or in view. So it totally depends on what kind of job role they're going to, and the background does matter. So it's all about looking forward. Your background is there, but what kind of job do you want to get into? Keeping that in mind, your communication approach to learning communication skills will change.
Right. Yes, thank you so much, Chaitra. Then there is another question based on some of the very difficult or painful email messages I'm receiving from several of the
Okay.
participants in our groups. That is, there are people who have finished their graduation from in 2015, so it's 3 years since they have not yet found their first job. Um,
Yeah.
so for me, it is very difficult to digest that fact, and it definitely has to do a lot with the soft skills. I mean, that's my assumption that and when I see their mails, it's also very clear that they do lack soft skills. But I mean, of course, we can't judge on the content. But I personally believe that if you're really struggling to get a job for more than 6 months or a year, I feel that you really have to work. I mean, soft skills are a big stopper on that kind of a front,
Yes.
more than your technical knowledge or the industry knowledge. Do you agree with that? I think what is your
Oh,
take on?
yes. It is definitely a personal experience here because 6 years back when I got married and moved to Dubai, Dubai is a place where you don't have agribusiness as such, except in retailing, part of the food supply chain, and you have some horticulture that's more of landscape maintenance for big companies, lawn maintenance, that kind of thing. And if I had to get a job in my area of expertise being agribusiness, I would have to shift to more of the rural place like Alain and such places. Now, I landed my first job in Dubai in Procter and Gamble, and it was nowhere related to agriculture. I was a part of their IDS, that is Industry Decision Systems, Information Decision Systems team, which dealt with IT solutions for PNG internally. Now, I'll tell you my personal experience here is my degree did not matter at all for me to getting that job. It was more of my ability to convince them that I'm ready to learn on the job and my communication skills.
Right.
So that was my first experience, and my heart really goes out to those people who have spent years and not been able to find a job. I have been in that phase too, where I quit my job to have my first baby, and when he was old enough, I was flooded with these thoughts as to, will my career stop now? What do I do after this? There's a lot of things running in your head that pulls you down as a person. It works havoc on your confidence. I totally understand what you're going through because I've been through it. But again, the next job that I tried for was a teaching position in University of Mysore, where I got through without a PhD. I got through the interview without a PhD. They said you could start working as a teacher and simultaneously do your PhD. Now, why were they open to that? That was because of my communication skills. So there's only this much that I can say about the importance of soft skills, and whatever I say would definitely be less than how important it is.
Correct. Yeah, I think because I believe, I mean, I've seen a lot of jobs and I've seen a lot of experiences. I personally
Yeah.
believe that there is a job for everyone. You need to know what is the
Yes.
right job for you, and while in the beginning you might have to compromise, but you might have to compromise in the right way, in the sense that yeah, you compromise on it, on the level of the job, more than the type of the job. Like, you should kind of do
Yes.
what really is to your strengths still. But I also have seen from then this is the follow-up question. So I completely agree, because I couldn't see any other reason why anyone should struggle for 3 years. And I need to speak to this person. I did not yet answer because I'm really reflecting myself, how to write an
Yeah.
answer to this person, because I feel so empathetic to this kind of a person, right? So um, as a follow-up yeah, point or a thought I had is that um, one of the things that is important for you as a fresher is to is to demonstrate a very positive attitude, a positive communication, positive energy, to come with a positive energy. Because as a young starter, um, what I expect in my organization, and I am sure many people do, is we expect you to come with a lot of positivity, positive energy, positive ideas, positive outlook, and all that. And I see a lot of people getting very frustrated or very disappointed very easily. Part of the reason could be several, there could be several reasons, but one of the things I found as a very profound outcome is that possibly they have been told or they have been taught that if you have a degree you will get a job, you are really entitled for a job, sort of a thing. So when
Yeah.
we ask them to, they, you have to develop your soft skills, they get offended about it, right? So they say, hey, how can you say that? I have a degree, right? And I was told that I will get a job because of a degree. So I personally think that, listening to people who are telling you something and trying to filter it in the right way is a very important skill that you need to develop, to set the right expectations also. In the beginning we make wrong expectations, but over time we need to learn about things. And then,
Yeah.
so what do you have to tell them? Is it a soft skill stuff, setting the right expectations? Is it a soft skill stuff? Is it, what is it about? How do you develop the skill to set the right expectations at the right stage, or even correct those expectation gaps, if you like?
Yeah, it is a soft skill area, I suppose. The kind of expectations people have before they meet you could be very different. And once they meet you and you put across the table as to what you can offer them, and then they, whether their expectations are realistic or not, also you can discuss it with that person and then arrive at a similar platform where you both agree as to what they can expect from you. That's a soft skills thing, and how to do it without offending that person or without making that person feel that you are worthless is a soft skills perspective.
Right, right. Yeah. And one final question. I think one of the things when I talk to employers, one of the things, the good ones that I talk to, they always, and that doesn't mean the best companies, good employers are
Yeah.
existing across the spectrum. Even
Yes.
I've seen the very small businesses having very, very good leaders, and, and a lot of vision and a lot of interest in good talent. So they always say that they need people that are open to learning, like willingness to learn, and they have this habit, they have discovered this passion for learning, passion for improving themselves. So what is that, that passion for improving and passion for learning? Is that a soft skill, or is that, what is it, basically? Because I see that in some people very clearly, but in most people, I see that there is a deficiency. Now, what I mean, but I can see that with that deficiency, it's very difficult to for you to gain the confidence and build your career and in a good way. So, what do you want to say about this?
Uh, I see it as a personality trait, Vijay. So there are two or three more factors that could be affecting one's personality. So one could be the way he has been brought up, the kind of people he's been seeing in his family circle, whether they love to do new things, do they love to have new experiences, learn things. So it's a bit of that, and it's a bit of the work culture as well. So how, if the organization is arranging for new learning sessions for their employees, they're building that kind of personalities in their own organization. There are many organizations that don't have this kind of, they don't give this opportunity to their employees, but they expect the employee to carry in new experience or new learning from somewhere else.
Right.
uh, so it's also, to some extent, the culprit is the organization itself. Then the individuals. So some people have this internal locus of control where a lot of positivity is from within.
Right.
And it comes naturally to them. They want to do new things, they want to have new experiences, they want to travel, they want to taste new food. It could be just, small things like that, which leads to a bigger perspective of life as an experience altogether.
Correct.
Now, if you are not that kind of person, if you are a person who naturally likes to be in your comfort zone, you don't want to move out, experience new things, learn new things, then it has to come externally to you. And IRP does that for them. IRP gives them a taste of the industry even before they step into the industry. It gives them exposure to so many experts from all over the world, not just Indian experts, but you have Dr. David Hughes, who is also known as, Dr. Food. So, as a graduate student from any of the Indian institutions, where would I have that kind of exposure to such an expert? And when I look at these experts, when I interact with these coaches, I'm going to get that. Love for new experiences and new learning. So
Yeah.
it's going to come to me externally if it is not there internally already. So this is a personality trait, and a lot of people lack this today. So that's why, in many a times employers look at a person, they meet people, somewhere in random places, they really like this I want to learn attitude, and then they start thinking, what kind of role can I design to have this person in my organization?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That
Yeah,
happens
absolutely.
many a times. You meet this person, you really want them to be a part of your organization, you create a job opportunity for them. That
Right.
has also, we have seen that many times.
You can ask my Agribusiness Academy colleagues. Honestly, when I'm interviewing people or talking to people about opportunities, I have no role in my mind. I always
Yeah.
talk to the person and then give them a role, and very soon I see that, hey, the role needs to be changed because of their strengths. It almost always it's a kind of enhancing their role. So if you like that person, so we would like most of our IRP students to develop themselves in such a way that new roles will be created for them, new roles will be made possible for them, and that is always possible because people do take risks with the starters than with very established kind of professionals.
Yes.
That is, established professionals is definitely a risk, because if he's a marketing guy, he's a marketing guy. You can't let him do content development with that person because it doesn't work, right?
Right.
Um, but one of the things I think you said, you talked about something very interesting, which is about experiences. So I come from this background of a normal engineering college, and struggling, having this kind of thoughts that many of our potential IRP learners have at this point in time. So I can very much relate with them. But now I'm sitting here with you, privileged to sit here with you and discuss about soft skills and industry readiness program, and that is because of the openness to experiences. And in the beginning, it's always difficult to get into experiences that are new. For example, you're used to classroom learning, and you've never heard or experienced online learning, and if you want to have to pay money and then start doing it, it's possibly a difficult thing. But when you really realize that you have shortcomings, you're not getting a job in a normal way, the only opportunity you have to change that is to put yourself under new experiences. And without trying out, without knowing, and without overcoming that threshold, as you call it, that tipping point, whatever you might want to call it, where you become comfortable in taking that new path, new, or you become prepared to take in that experience. You really have to go through that. And what I see in India is a lot of students asking who else have done that, and like, and uh, can you come and teach me in the classroom and all that kind of stuff. Then I only tell them that you have been taught for 20 years in the classroom, and then you're not getting a job, right? So Why don't you try for 6 months or even for 15 days and see if it works for you? So I think that inability to accept new experiences, coming out of the comfort zone, I think is the biggest barrier to growth. Not soft skills, not industry knowledge as the prime factors, but I think not putting yourself into new experiences at a very young age of 20, 21 is, I think, the biggest risk one could take, I guess. So with that, I think if you have any comments, you can make that, but this would be the last question for this particular session. Yeah, thank you so much, Chaitra. Thank you so much for the audience who have sat through. I think there's several of them that have sat through, and thanks to my team members, Kanchan and others, Kanchan, Preeti, and everyone else for making this a possibility. And thank you so much, Chaitra, for putting up such a wonderful kickoff for the soft skills and answering all the questions that our learners have got. So thank you so much. I think we have answered most of their questions. Yeah, thanks, Chaitra. See you next time.
See you. Bye-bye.